Hello, welcome to another episode of Profiles. I'm your host, Michael Short. And in this episode, I had the extreme pleasure of interviewing Corrado Izzo from eLearnCommerce. eLearnCommerce is a LMS plugin, which is a learning management system. And he gets to tell us a little bit about how he got his start and how he got into the LMS industry in the first place. Talks a little bit about his plugin and then what his plans are for the future. Hopefully you enjoyed this video as much as I did. So thank you for joining us, Corrado. It's a pleasure to have you on this show. I'm super excited to talk to you today because, I've done a lot of research on your product and stuff, and I'm very inquisitive of everything that you got going on there. You look like you have quite the suite of tools for e-learning. So please just introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us kind of how you got your start.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. And my name is Corrado Izzo. I'm the CEO of eLearnCommerce. And the company behind it is actually called Code is Code. And how did I get my start? I'm an executive producer. I started out many years ago. I did my first business. I created my first business when I was around 20 years old. And I have been working as an executive producer for most of my professional life. And then what I basically did was I was a creative facilitator and a talent developer. So producers would come to me and how can I make money with this? And then I would just executively produce their productions, get them out, and then send them a check into the mailbox. And that's the way I created value before the internet became a thing, actually. And that worked really well. Then the internet changed everything, and basically the whole industry I was in was completely destroyed. It wasn't there anymore. Hundreds of companies, thousands of tons of goods that were transported, and physical goods, because creativity, the expression of creativity, was put on a record, on a physical format, which was then boxed up and shipped all around the world. And the internet made that become digital, and it was not physical anymore. And I witnessed the whole transition. In this whole transition, all our companies got destroyed, and we had to start from scratch again.
Wow.
And my aspiration back then was, okay, the next time I do a company, I know it's going to be successful, but and I can do something great, but I need to first understand what happened. And so I went on a year-long, on three years it took me to understand what had happened in a digital revolution. And I said, the next product I'm going to create is going to be a product which is going to be timeless. I want to be able to sell it no matter what happens in the industry or in the economy. And after many years, I found that to be knowledge. So knowledge has, it never dies. No matter what happens in the world, knowledge is always a product which you can sell, create, produce. And what I did then was starting, and I created a course which would explain and help anybody make the transition from the old economy to this new economy. And I was very successful in doing that. And when I had to take my knowledge online, because I was doing seminars and workshops and like live in-person trainings, like classical thing. You just rent out a place and then you go and you have course participants in live trainings. And that became more and more and more and more. And I said, okay, I need to take my training online. Otherwise, I cannot scale this business anymore. And that happened around 2013, 2014. And back then I said, okay, how do I make that happen? And so I went out, I looked for solutions, and I wanted something that I could completely own myself on my server, on my website. And all I found was very frustrating. It's like unnecessarily complicated. And so I came across a few websites that looked really nice and worked really well, like I imagined. And then I said, I need to build something that works properly. and that's how we then started. I started on my own with a very tiny product, a very small plugin, and we developed this now for 5 years. And it's a whole suite of products now where you can create a simple course and have it online on your WordPress site and publish it and sell it. And you can create a whole institute, a team training platform where you can actually train hundreds of teams all around the world and do many other things. Yeah. So just in a nutshell, the idea basically is I read a very important book about the platform economy. So I'm coming from the platform idea. So all our thinking comes, we build a tool that enables anyone to create a platform. So it's not so much the membership side angle of things. You can create a membership site, but the idea is I create a platform which is independent, and in a way I must think like Mark Zuckerberg or the Twitter founder. I create a platform like this. And so this is the tool that we've built, and this is what you can do with eLearnCommerce. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you a developer yourself, or did you hire a team of developers to get started on that project?
The first iteration of the product, the way that I did it was, I'm not a developer myself, but I understand the systems and the concepts behind it. Basically, I started out of what would I want and how would I want this to work? And then I went and I actually started with a very simple design. And I said, okay, I want it to work like this. And I took what was it? PowerPoint. Or actually, I took, what's it called again? Keynotes on the Mac. And then I designed every screen. I did a mock-up of every screen. And then I hired a developer and I said, I want it to work exactly like this. And then I just did that. I released it and we got like, I don't know, I got maybe 1,000 downloads, like without even, with just posting it around the web. And that's how it got started. And then later on, a year later, when the thing grew more and more and more, I said, okay, now I need to find someone because, and then I was very lucky to find my business partner and CTO, Robert, and we actually work together, and we are a team of 10 people now. Yeah.
Oh, that was going to be one of my questions. So you got it up to 10 people. That's pretty impressive. And you've been around for 5 years. So when you first released it, you said you got 1,000 people on it. You had a free version, or did you actually sell it at that point?
No, the first version was $29. And there are some people that still have the 20. Now that the product costs $500 or something lifetime, there are still people that, there are different price ranges. And
they got grandfathered in, huh? They got lucky.
Yeah, they got lucky. And
awesome.
It's I mean, still some of the customers that we have, very big membership sites, they still use that one of the first earlier versions. Yeah.
Wow. Well, based off of what I found on your website, you guys are beyond, much further along that I can tell than what you started with, because you have so many different options and features. It's quite impressive. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the things that make your e-learning platform unique from maybe some of the competitors?
Yeah, I mean, the main difference is one thing that I disliked personally very much is I'm kind of disdain when things are kept not transparent for non-obvious reasons. What I really disliked was the fact that all the solutions which are out there, and it's part of the whole WordPress approach, that if I had to build something, it was a requirement for me to invest a lot of time, and I could not, it was impossible to build it in a way that I wanted it to be, because yeah, I had to pick up one plugin from that company, and then I had to put that other plugin from this other company, and then this other company, and then at the end of the day, my site is Frankenstein together with like 6, 7, 8 plugins.
Different conflicts, yeah.
Yeah, and now conflicts when updates happen, it's very unstable. And then I really dislike the fact that, I want an option, I need a feature. Why is it not there, and why is development so slow in a way? Yeah, I always believed in the fact that production should be in-house. Yeah, this is in our publishing company. We had recording studios, so someone would be there and record something, and over there was the sales guys, and we would listen, and then we would know, okay, this could be something we could sell. So every production and distribution, it's my idea. It's like need to be kind of very connected, and that's what we did. So the big difference is with us, you get one plugin that covers all the bases of what such a solution needs to have, and you have only one neck to choke and not 7, because in this other environment where you have these 7 plugins, now you update one, and then this plugin, this company will say, yeah, it's not us, it's them. And then you have to contact them, and then you have to contact them, and so on. And you waste a lot of time like that. And with us, you have only one neck to choke. That's the big difference. So you can have conversations, you can create a forum, you can create courses, you can, you have sub-accounts, you have team accounts, all these functionalities and features. We've been like on a sprint for 2 or 3 years. We've been adding so many features in there because the idea was from the beginning, we need to create something complete, something that, gives you everything you need to build a platform that has conversations and content and everything. So on the other hand, what we thought is very important, again, production and needs to be in-house. Customers ask for something, we say, yes, this should be there. We make it happen an hour later, And so we've added a lot of options. And so now we have a tool that is very option rich, which again is a challenge though, because you have to kind of, but yeah, you get like if you need an option, most probably it's there.
Really? Wow.
Which is for experts, it's really great, but it's a challenge a bit for beginners because they come in and again, WordPress is so feature rich, and for them it's a bit of a challenge. But I'm working on something now to make that a non-issue. Yeah,
like a wizard or something to walk them through the process.
No, basically, the issue is that like what you did with your fast solutions, you need to have a very precise idea of what this specific user needs, and then you need to just remove everything else. That's what you need to do, because what happens is paralysis by analysis. I mean, what a beginner does when he installs WordPress, he just starts installing all these plugins he doesn't need, and now you need to clean it up. And I have seen backends of WordPress sites which are like 70, 80 plugins, even like sites that are very big, and they are constantly extinguishing fires left and right. So the way that it's done is like you have to have a very clear idea of what a specific segment of the market wants. And if it's a membership site, I'm just going to give you the settings to set that up. If you need to build a coaching platform, I'm going to give you another type of settings.
Like a recipe, like for each of those different profiles?
Like a recipe. Let's say it's something that needs to work in a way where you just click somewhere, you upload it, and it's set up.
Nice.
It's something like this, because that's how you need to trim it down. It needs to be something, a configuration is there. Because one of the challenges with WordPress is that there are these keepers of knowledge, right? In a way. are out there. So you need to pay me because you don't know which settings you need to make, because WordPress is a maze and blah, blah, blah. You know, we can be better than that. You
Mhm.
know, just why not give the customer a sense of empowerment that he can set it up himself
Mhm.
and then do the important work, which is like helping him grow his business and get customers, you know. Uh, Too much emphasis is put on this whole like technical setup thing, and which is totally like the least important thing.
Yeah.
And so that's a big difference where we want to make a big difference. So we've been working up to that. No site put together like with 7, 8, 9 plugins, just one suite of plugins, very much like WooCommerce is, because if you have WooCommerce or you have EDD, for example, which is a similar situation, they have an aspiration to create a quality set of tools, and
Mhm.
when they cover all the bases that or most of the bases, and when you install them, they all work nicely together and they fit nicely together. And when an update comes out, the developers already considered, yeah, how would this affect this part and that part, and the thinking
Right.
is done all in an integrated manner. So that's the idea behind it. Yeah.
That's very interesting. I think you and I both share the same similar approach. You know, like we talk about, uh, bringing everything into all. You have this full suite of plugins in your offering, or the full suite of options within your own offering, instead of having to rely on other plugins. And that's kind of what we've done too. We have like 21 plus plugins right now, and it's the same concept. You don't want to have that pointing fingers at to somebody else, or you only have one neck to choke, like you mentioned. And so it definitely, I could see the benefit in what you guys are doing over there. I did see one of the plugins that I noticed that you guys created. It seems like it would eliminate the need to get a membership plugin involved outside of your system, right? Because if you're using one of your competitors, they all tend to need to use like something like MemberPress or Paid Membership Pro or whatever. But yours, you provide that. Is that correct?
Yes, we created our own membership solution, which is built to fit right in. It's the sales engine, and we integrate with the most used membership plugins out there. Yeah, but
Yeah.
we have also our own solution, because, and we are going in that direction where, because it's very complex, it's very kind of development wise, it's very complex architecture, because you have so many different levels that you need to regulate. So um, we chosen 5 or 6 different plugins that we do this with on a third party level. Now what's happening is that they are natively integrating with us, and but we build our own membership solution, so you can independently, and you don't need any other tool. You just get that, and then you can start selling. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That
start
seems
protecting your content. Because
that's
what the membership plugin at the end does is, it gives you the ability to um, um, protect content and regulate access and establish access rules. That's what you do. You have something, that's what a membership plugin does. In principle, it's something very simple.
Mhm. Yeah. What would you say are some of the challenges that your customers face on a regular basis that you guys are able to either solve or that you're working on solving?
It's actually, we come from a position of, we want to empower companies.
Hmm.
So what I've done, back then when I said, okay, let me find the perfect model and of a platform, how I would like to have it.
Right.
And the platforms that I wanted to have back then were all custom built, where you need to hire a team of 15, where you need to hire a team of developers and spend 15, 20, $30,000 to actually custom build it the way you want it to work.
Hmm.
And I can now say that the biggest challenge that we solve for our customers, of our ideal customer, is that he can buy this product for a very low price, relatively low price, and we kind of removed the tech barrier, yeah, because now you can have a 25, 35, 45, $50,000 platform and just pay, I don't know, $90 a month. Or you can buy it for $500 now that we had a deal, or for $1,500, and you have removed the tech barrier. You can have a very high value custom built kind of platform without the price tag. And that's many of our customers said, I had this dream of building a platform, and we have customers that operate at quite a high level with customers like eBay, or even they do training for the Walt Disney Corporation. I mean, organizations like this, or the USPTA, and we give them a platform that they normally would have to shell out a lot of money for. So it's actually, we say, okay, we want to, when you buy eLearnCommerce, we give you $50,000. You know, that's actually where we come from. And that's the value, and that's the big difference we want to make. Because I think that's why it's also called eLearnCommerce. I think we are just witnessing the revolution of the educational system. We need to build a new education system, because the old one doesn't prepare us for what's to come. And the future belongs to and the educational entrepreneurs. That's single people that will create a new type of education to improve the economy, improve the lives of people. And the technology cannot be like a barrier or an obstacle there. And we need to give these people tools so they can actually create professional kind of platforms. And we've only seen the beginning of this. So the mission is very long reaching. And the idea is like, let's steal from the rich and let's give it to the startup entrepreneur. So that's the idea. That's a bit the idealistic approach.
I like that. Yeah.
So we had people, for example, they come and say, yeah, you guys enable me to realize a dream, because I tried for years to build such a thing, and I failed, and many people failed. And it's actually very difficult to to build something like this. You know, it's not just a plugin to make a course, or it's not just a plugin that does one thing. It's a whole suite of products that do like 7-8 different things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to always make it work, it's a challenge. Yeah, you know, we thought many times, obviously in our brainstorming sessions, with all the challenges that WordPress brings in its naked form, with all these integrations and things that clash with each other, standards not being followed. This plugin developer follows one standard, the other one follows another standard, things update, then they break, and it's very unreliable. And and actually the companies that created the most value in the marketplace are the ones that created stability, which in WordPress are the hosting companies. Yeah, mm-hmm. Right. So if you look at the biggest companies in WordPress, actually that make really thrive in this ecosystem and go like 7 figures and high 7 figures, are the ones that create this stability, because even hosting a WordPress site is a challenge, you know.
Right.
Yeah, right. So
actually that brings me up to my next question, is like, what made you decide to go with WordPress as opposed to maybe building out a SaaS platform for something like this, like Teachable or whatever?
The freedom and the open horizon that WordPress has as an idea I feel very in tune with that. So it's a bit rock and roll in a way. All right. So I can do this without needing you, and I can be independent. I come from the music business, so I worked with many small producers that had very own ideas and very original ideas, and maybe their vision was a unique perspective on whatever they were creating, and independence was a very big factor. So yes, that's why WordPress, why the WordPress platform. And that's why I didn't choose the SaaS platforms, because you kind of, I want to be free to add something.
Mm-hmm.
And with the SaaS platform, I cannot do that. I need to take it as it comes out of the box.
Right.
And that clashes a bit with this philosophy to have the freedom and the independence to just be the boss in your own house. Yeah. So it's a difference between what do you want to build your house or do you want to rent it? I mean, yeah, everybody prefers to kind of, build it themselves. I don't want to be. Yeah, it's the idea of independence. That's why WordPress. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes total sense. In fact, we're looking at a CRM right now that's SaaS related. We always looking at different products and tools, and that's one of the limitations or the biggest hangups for me on something like that is that the fact that you can't customize it to your specific needs. You're reliant on whatever features that they bring out. So, like in your case, we're building something on using your tools, and we're building a platform using your tools. We can still add another plugin or two that does a little bit of a different function or feature that you may not provide, and that's definitely a great
Yeah, and you can
option.
also the code is open. You can customize things. You can always bring a developer in and say, "Hey, I want this to look different," or "I just want to add some small thing that I need." Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and so this flexibility does not come with SaaS platforms. But yeah, there is obviously now. If you ask me in terms of a company, I mean, the SaaS platforms have the data as
Yeah.
in a way that when you work in the WordPress world, I will give you a zip file, you create your platform, and you are the owner. Yeah.
Right.
And in a way, you could be like a very big company, but that doesn't affect me. Like, it doesn't create value directly for me. Like, if you are eBay and you come to my learning management platform, I have your data. I can analyze it, I can work with it, I own it. If you look at the terms and conditions of all the SaaS platforms, they say it there. They say it also what happens, and they regulate what happens with the data if we get sold to someone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because the data is the real value, which when you create a WordPress plugin, you don't have that. So it's a bit of a
Give and
challenge.
take. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a give and take. But yeah, this is the freedom that comes with the platform. That's I really like this idea very much.
So tell me, after having looked at your site and looked through all the different things that you do provide, and you're talking about, and earlier in the conversation, you were talking about the future, this like learning management systems or learning platforms, and just knowledge in general is really the future. And not just the future, but also the now. I mean, there's so many coaches and people that building these things out now, including myself. Um, the, the question is what is your plans going into the future? What can you add to what you're doing besides what you talked about, the recipes or however you want to position those? What else do you guys kind of have envisioned for your future?
So our company has three pillars. Yeah. So one is the technology, the knowledge, and so the knowledge finds expression in the academy. So we are creating an academy where we will teach how to implement these solutions in businesses, and where we will grow e-learning platform architects. Yeah. So that who make it their mission to actually help coaches and trainers and institutions, organizations to create these platforms. Yeah? Mm-hmm. There is a whole range of professional figures, professionals which we have to create because they do not exist. It's more than just instructional design. It's also like content architecture, like when you are knowledge management. Yeah. So how do I actually organize content? How do I architect? How do I make it so that it works together with the marketing engine and the sales mechanism? And you have professionals here which have very kind of they are holders of knowledge and they're keepers of knowledge and they know what they know, but there are other figures missing which help them get that knowledge online so that it can be transferred. So with the academy, we want to make that happen. The other very important arm are the events. So this year we are starting with the 2 events, and in 2 European cities, and also one in America is planned, where we actually create an event where you can come and understand how to monetize your knowledge and how to take it online, because it's not a well distributed thing yet. It's still very young. I mean, I get people that come every day. They understand that something is moving there, but they are like really greenhorns and they start from scratch. So but they have like 30 years on their backs, like training and being out there and teaching, and this is them. But now take someone that is training for 30 years and get him to create an online platform. There is a whole new way of thinking that needs to be installed there, and we need to create professionals. We need to create education that helps these professionals take their training online. We need to do events, so we bring this out there, that actually something significant can be created in an independent way, and we need to go and improve the software. So it's these 3 different arms of the company. So it's education, it's technology, and it's events.
Events, yeah. I like that approach. I think very similar to us. I had a realization in the WAS community that our target audience doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be developers. They're going to be people that just already have an audience. They might be coaches. They might be instructors, like like similar. We probably share very similar audiences, and they're not necessarily developers, so they don't know the technology side of things. And so it's incumbent upon us to go out and make sure we're building tools that make it easy for them to get up and going, even as non-developers. So I definitely applaud and I like your approach, and that's kind of where we're headed as well.
Yeah, that's very easy with like we said before, on a SaaS platform, you just come in and everything is very like, well, even there, it's not always done in a perfect way, because you really need to understand your customer and your market and everything. So, but there is a few things that are, sometimes I log in on a platform and I say, wow, they've done really a great job, because they just give me what I need,
what you need, that's it.
not more.
Yeah. And that's the challenge, because as we try to serve multiple different avatars, if you want to call it that, some of them need all of those extra features and some of them don't. So I like your approach on the rest. I keep calling it recipe. I know that's not your terminology. I want to make sure I make that clear.
It's actually a recipe. I actually I have this recipe idea, like there all the time in my head. I just remember every time I have a customer that is struggling, I remember what a nightmare it was for me. Because when I made that switch back then, I had in my previous company, I had a web guy, and I was telling him, okay, do me this, and I need this, and create me a page like that, and the website needs to be like that. When I made that switch, I came to the realization, if I want to be entering this game, which that's about 15 years ago, I need to learn how I can do this myself. And so I went out there and I said, I need to learn how to create a website. And so I came across WordPress, and I banged my head against the wall for weeks, because I made so many mistakes and destroyed a site. And every time a customer struggles, or when the team, when someone comes on and says, I really remember really well, and I never want to forget it, how difficult it was for me. And so to create that understanding, because it's a challenge. I mean, we're all in this to create something great or something better, and frustrations get very high sometimes, So
yeah.
how did we get to this?
Well, to be fair for your process, you started so far back that the tools were not quite what they are today. So it was even more difficult for you to go through and set up a WordPress website than it would probably be for somebody today. But still, it's a learning curve no matter what. I mean, you still,
Yeah,
what page builder do I use? Which theme do I, what is a theme and how do I install it? And all of this, there's so much to it if you're not a developer. So yeah, it's a,
yeah, yeah. This is a bit of a that's a bit if you that's a bit the weakness of WordPress.
Mhm.
It's a bit the weakness of WordPress that I don't know if you share that. I mean, I think that's kind of what motivated you to create a VAS solution, right? So
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I actually looked at that at the very beginning. I said, this is a great system, but I need to kind of white label it, or I need to kind of change this whole, like all these options, they don't need to be there, because I always think, how can this be turned into a product? Because
Yes.
that's my even in back in the days, if I would hear something, how can I make this a product? How can I make this a product? And actually, that's how I then launched this product. I just went out there and just listened to the conversations people were having, and I said, okay, this is what I need, this is what they need, let's make it happen. But yeah, WordPress is too much of a maze,
Mhm.
and it's a bit of an issue. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think we both have, similar backgrounds in that story. Like we're fulfilling our own personal needs, and we want it. And then once we did that, and we're scratching our own itch. Then we realized that there's probably others that have that same itch that need to be scratched as well. So, yeah, I think we're both on the same target and the same kind of running parallel lives in just kind of a slightly different angle. Um, so yeah, so we're pretty much wrapping up on a little over the 30 minutes. Is there any last thoughts or ideas that you want to say, or maybe let the viewers know kind of how they can learn more about you and get access to your plugins?
Yeah, I mean, you go to eLearnCommerce.com and learn all about our products there. And you should go there, like when you hear this video, like we are preparing something now, and it's going to happen in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I don't know when this is going to be published, but when you watch this, go to eLearnCommerce.com, because you will like what you will see there.
Oh, awesome. I'm anxious. I can't wait to go see that. So I'm looking 2 to 3 weeks. And for those that are watching, today is February 14th. So depending on when this actually gets released or when you actually get to watch it, just 2, 3 weeks from this date. So awesome. I'm so thankful to have you on. I learned a lot
Yeah,
from you
very,
today. I
very grateful to yeah,
Yeah,
to be here with you.
yeah, seeing you on Facebook and getting to like look, this is what I enjoy most about these interviews is I get to see people, get to know people more intimately than just on Facebook or on social media. So this has been a great time.
Yeah, actually, yes. And I really like your approach, and I think that's very important. Um, and I need to do it. I do it as well. I do interviews and I meet customers all the time. But in this intimate setting, the way that you did it here, I really like that. And I think it's very important. It's what's missing a bit,
Mhm.
because text doesn't have the emotion, doesn't have the eyes, and doesn't have a lot of other things. And I think, and that's why the events are so important. Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
getting to see people's the way they fluctuate their voice, the way their body movements are, their facial expressions, all of that makes such a big difference than just straight reading something they wrote. So I definitely
there
enjoy
is it's a lot of. I don't think it's that we as a species are really fit or built for this.
it.
Because I see so many people struggle, and I also struggle sometimes because I come from a place where I had a list of customers to call from Japan to the States. Like I would call hundreds of people every day and just be on the phone. Like when I would go home in the evening and I would feel the phone here
Oh.
on the side of my face, and
Uh-huh.
talking to people all the time and selling like products and everything and going to conferences. And now there are people out there, they just don't even want to talk to you. All they want to do is just type away on their keyboard. It's a bit of
Right.
a problem.
Yeah, it is a problem. And I think like having these type of interviews so other people can participate. And when I say participate, meaning just view like, a conversation between us, they can feel like they get to know you more instead of just, your promotions, your ads or whatever, or seeing you type something in a Facebook group. So it's just, I thought it would just be a great way to get people to know people by watching our videos. So I'm thankful to have you on for sure. And I
Thank you very much.
look forward to working with you, maybe collaborating, doing something in the future together. So,
yes, let's make it happen.
awesome. Well, thanks for coming on. Have a great day.
You too.